Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Draft University is in session. Thanks for joining us. And after an interesting night one, let's just say, we're now here. It's Friday morning. Day 2 of the NFL Draft. Rounds 2 and 3 will be underway this evening from Detroit. And I just wanted to take a moment after our mock draft yesterday, which everybody does, and give you my observations from night one. And a few are probably similar than, I mean, look, one's pretty obvious that everybody had, right? And just kind of give you my thoughts that I jot down in that handy notes section we all have on our phone these days. So let's go ahead and jump into number one, which is the most obvious of them all. Michael Penix Jr. to Atlanta. You go out and you sign Kirk Cousins and you spend all this money on him in free agency, and you have already a team, a roster that's kind of ready to win now. You have talent, you have pieces on offense for sure. There's a couple on defense. You could get an edge rusher there at 8 to kind of, bolster that defense a little bit, even a corner, which is, I had Quinyon Mitchell going to 8 to Atlanta to team up with AJ Terrell on the perimeter. But you're ready to compete in an NFC South that is pretty well up for grabs. I mean, okay, Tampa and Baker Mayfield won and found themselves in the divisional round, but that division, it's hardly out of reach. So I think I don't understand the thought process. I get Arthur Blank, you want a plan of succession there. I understand that, and I know the memes that are going around, this kind of just reeks of Friday Night Lights, man, because again, you draft a guy top 10. Kirk Cousins, after all that money, is now going to have an incredibly short leash, and it's not going to take long before Arthur Blank goes, I want to see what the rookie can do. And for me, it's like there's other quarterbacks in this draft. I would have waited if you wanted a quarterback that badly. Spencer Rattler, take him tonight even, is what I would have done personally. But obviously Atlanta really liked what they saw in Michael Penix. And it's hard not to, right? And ultimately, look, we all thought it was kind of egregious. But if you believe that strongly, Michael Penix is your guy, you go get your guy. If you had an idea in March that this is what you were going to do, I just don't understand why you go out and get Kirk Cousins unless you think, okay, we can win. We're so good we can win the fucking Super Bowl this year. Deal Cousins away, sell high, and then hand the reins over to Michael Penix Jr. Maybe that's their thought process, don't know, but that's kind of where the draft popped wide open at 8 with Michael Penix Jr. to Atlanta. And staying in the NFC, the Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings won the night, I think. I mean, before we even got out of the top 10. Minnesota trading up one spot with the Jets to 10 to select J.J. McCarthy. Chicago, obviously, Caleb Williams first overall, and Rome Odunze falling in their lap at 9. That just a home run pick. I like Odunze better than Malik Nabers personally in this draft. I like the skill set he brings to the table. I love Nabers as well, all due respect. If you give me the choice of the two, I'm going Odunze. So you add him now to Keenan Allen and DJ Moore in that offense, DeAndre Swift you picked up this year, and I love what Chicago's done. You've now got, you got your quarterback of the future. Keenan Allen's aging, so even if he's there for if he's not there long, if this is a fucking pit stop for Keenan Allen, you have that guy, another wide receiver one in Odunze that can step in, and now you have him and DJ Moore for the next handful of years. Chicago did a great job. And Minnesota, obviously when you make that deal with Houston to get that second first rounder, you kind of do it with the idea of, all right, we're going to move up here. And, reportedly they were trying to move up with New England for Drake May, Gerard Mayo, and the Patriots. Stayed there, took their guy in Drake May, no dice to Minnesota. But you move up one spot to take J.J. McCarthy, ensure that you get your guy or your 1B, whatever it might be. I'm not in Minnesota's war room, but you get the guy, and you still are able to keep that second first round pick. And, they moved up with Jacksonville to take Dallas Turner at 17. Huge night for the Vikings. You get your quarterback of the future from what you believe, and you also get that edge rusher, high-end edge rusher coming off the edge production-wise that you can count on in Dallas Turner, and you're hoping he can hit that ceiling and fill the void that Danielle Hunter left when he parted in free agency. You got Jonathan Grenard over there that you brought in from Houston in free agency, Andrew Van Ginkel. Minnesota's brought in some pieces despite losing Danielle Hunter. And Dallas Turner, I thought, was a hell of a pick. You move up and you get him. I mean, that right there, if you're Minnesota, you didn't think when you were coming into the night that you were going to walk away with the quarterback and that extra pick. So right there, I thought both the Bears and the Vikings won the night. And interesting pick at 12. Right after that, the sixth quarterback taken, right? We had 5 go in the top 10 with, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May 1, 2, and 3. Then you got Penix at 8, the surprise, McCarthy at 10 to Minnesota. And Denver goes with Bo Nix at 12. Now, this ties the 1983 draft in terms of the most quarterbacks taken in the first round in draft history. And I just thought it was interesting. Bo Nix to Denver was a popular pick in mocks for a while, and then it's kind of like, look, Bo Nix with the completion percentage, yes, great, the record, but is he really a first rounder? He's got a ton of experience. So did Jaden Daniels. Feels like both these dudes have been around forever. And this is just Sean Payton again thinking that he can get more out of anybody, more out of a guy than anybody else can. He looks at Bo Nix as a tube of toothpaste. I can keep getting everything I can out of this guy, whereas these other coaches don't see what I see, right? And I think he kind of views, they even made the correlation on the broadcast, kind of Drew Brees similarities in terms of, Bo Nix. And I think that Denver, that's great now that you have Bo Nix, but you've got to, you're going to need more than him. You're going to need more than him to allow this guy to succeed. And I understand Sean Payton lost a little bit of a sizzle with the Russell Wilson thing. I just think those two guys, I don't think you can attribute that to either one necessarily. I think that was a lose-lose situation for both dudes, so both get a fresh start. And Denver does here with Bo Nix. Out of the gate, we tied the record. 6 quarterbacks gone when you didn't know if that second group of 3 were even going to go or not, and they're gone before you even get to the 12th pick, or the 13th pick rather. And the Raiders, who surprisingly, Brock Bowers, best player available for the Raiders, new approach for them. I love that pick, even after taking Michael Mayer last year high in the draft. What about the LA Rams draft house? Okay, and I don't know if it was just I had a weird draft night previously. I don't remember the Rams having a draft house. And maybe this has been a thing. I don't know. Forgive me if it is. Maybe I'm late to the party here. No pun intended. But it's like all these other teams have war rooms, right? And you're looking at like Cincinnati at 18, their war room. And the Bengals are a mom and pop team, right? But you're looking at these teams like in these war rooms. And the Rams have a fucking war house that's got a pool. They've got a football field on the beach. What a glamour, a glitz and glamour franchise the Rams are. And look, ultimately, they're in a phase now where for a nice stretch, they've backed it up, right? Since Sean McVay's arrived, Jared Goff, even though they jettisoned him, you kind of got that thing going, McVay and Goff did, and you bring Stafford in, Les Snead's a phenomenal GM, and to stay relevant that entire window that you didn't have any first round picks. I get it, fuck these picks, but you still need the draft to stay relevant. And, the Rams, it just looking at that and kind of seeing the environment that they're in and the ways in which they set themselves apart. And of course, naturally, sponsored by Zillow. We have to put that up there because who the fuck else is going to sponsor the Rams draft house, with the gorgeous Sean McVay and even Les Snead. Ruggedly handsome. Those are the exact 2 dudes that you would imagine being in the Rams draft house. And they also come away with phenomenal value at 19, and edge rusher Jared Verse out of Florida State. I'm an Eagles fan, and I about shit my pants when Howie Roseman not only stayed at 22 and did so in draft at a corner. For me, it was like the board was falling in such a way. You had offensive players go 1 through 14. A defensive player didn't even go until pick 15, Laiatu Latu to Indianapolis. the board's falling in such a way where all of these guys are getting taken and it's shuffling guys down the board. So for me, knowing that the Birds have 2 second rounders tonight, 50 and 53, I'm going, don't give one of those assets up. Stay at 22. The board is falling to you, Howie. But, you know, Howie likes to have people talk about what he does on night one, so you almost wonder, can he not help himself? He stays at 22 and takes arguably the best corner in the draft in Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo, who, again, credit to Howie for you prefer these SEC guys. That's why I kind of was like, if it is corner, it's probably going to be Terrion Arnold, because you always see Howie go for those big SEC school guys. Georgia, obviously, Alabama. I didn't think he would go to Toledo. You know, despite the phenomenal Senior Bowl week in Senior Bowl that Quinyon Mitchell had, the production, the ball hawking skills that he had at 37 PBUs in college, I believe 6 interceptions, everything you want is there from Quinyon Mitchell. He does it all. And whether you have Darius Slay and James Bradbury after this year or not, you know, safeties, you got young guys there, talented pieces. Reed Blankenship's a fan favorite. Blue-collar player, great guy on the back end. He's only going to get better, as is Sidney Brown, 3rd-round pick last year. So you have a couple of safeties there that you can build on. Quinyon Mitchell now gives you a young corner that you can pair with somebody else next year or even maybe later this evening, which I doubt. Howie's not going to go 2 corners in a row. But then again, I didn't think he was going to go corner last night. You always think he's going to go lineman. But great pick last night by Howie Roseman, and it was almost like being post-coital after that pick. Like, I didn't give a shit what happened for the rest of the draft. It was just awesome to see Howie. And, you know, and look, the line's great for a reason. The trenches are in Philly, and that's why you win games. But it was cool to see another part of the roster get addressed in the first round, finally, with premier draft capital in Quinyon Mitchell. Detroit. Just as a host, man, shout out to the Lions. It's great to see an organization that's kind of been a doormat for, 50 years, that hasn't done anything. Nobody wants to see them on Thanksgiving, but now they're good. Now they're good, and they should be good for a handful of years. What they've done there is nothing short of remarkable. A doorstep away from the Super Bowl last year. I think everybody in America that wasn't a 49ers fan was rooting for Detroit to get there. And to see them host the draft, more people in one night in draft history, reportedly 275,000. Jesus fucking Christ, it's a lot of people. And then, of course, look, Eminem, if I heard, I'm not afraid one more time, I was going to light myself on fire or throw myself down a flight of stairs. Kind of ridiculous. We get it. But to see all those guys come out, Megatron, Barry Sanders always seems to have that jacket on. Aiden Hutchinson, the Sun God. Jared Goff, what about the pop he got? I love seeing that for that dude. And props to him, man. And I'll say this too, aside from hats off to Detroit and where they are now and just feeling good to see the Lions franchise be in that spot. Can we stop with the Roger Goodell? Not even the booing thing, but are we trying to make him more approachable? He's sitting here challenging Eminem to a rap battle awkwardly. And, hey, we'll get to that rap battle later in time. It's like, I don't know what they're going for here. It almost like they're trying to make him seem more approachable. But it feels like at this point, just leave it alone, man. Let the dude just be him. Let him be a politician. Can you stop trying to make us like him? And I think at this point, it's very much an angle, but every year, it's very cringy. But I think that may have been possibly the cringiest of them all. It's just like, dude, come on. And then again, you follow that up with I'm not afraid 1,596 times, because let's just remind you, hey, by the way, we're in Detroit. But I love seeing that city after everything they've been through, and the Lions after everything they've been through as a franchise kind of have their night, and still have 2 more ahead to kind of capitalize and put the punctuation mark on what's been a great season for them, and hopefully will continue to be going forward. Terrion Arnold had a blast being drafted by the home team. They traded up to. What a great night for the Detroit Lions franchise. And, I mean, really just an exciting night for the NFL draft. I think there were a couple kind of surprising picks. Ricky Pearsall at 31 to San Francisco when Ladd McConkey was there was kind of a surprise to me. But, I mean, look, there's still a lot of talent available going into the second round tonight. You know, the top of my list, one of my draft crushes, Cooper DeJean. Still available. I was fucking gobsmacked by that. Ladd McConkey as well, I thought for sure was going to be a first rounder, especially if you had told me that Ricky Pearsall was going to go as well. And that's nothing against Ricky Pearsall. I like Ricky Pearsall, but I feel that strongly that McConkey is going to have a better career, although I do love Pearsall. And I think putting him in that Shanahan offense makes him probably better and more dangerous than he would be for probably 25 other teams. You know, DeJean, McConkey, Jackson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. I'm kind of surprised he's still there. Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. You know, he's a wrestler, and he was a wrestler. Great background there along the offensive line. Braden Fisk, defensive tackle, Florida State. Adonai Mitchell, receiver out of Texas. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I wasn't as high on him as a lot of people. I would have probably taken every corner that was taken above Kool-Aid McKinstry, but I'm still kind of surprised to see him slide just a little bit. Annis Rakestraw Jr., TJ Tampa as well, corner out of Iowa State. I like him more than most. Expect his name to get called tonight too. Mike Sainristil, cornerback out of Michigan. A lot of talent still left on the board as we go into night two. So who do you want your team to draft heading into night two? Let us know in the comment section. And thank you for watching Draft University, where I look forward to bringing you all sorts of content on the 2024 NFL Draft and all sorts of draft content in general coming up in the future. So hit that subscribe button to be a part of it and enjoy rounds 2 and 3 tonight. We'll see you next time.